it's just Aidan here from MA Fitness.
And I'm Dean from Pro Nature.
And we're here today, we are the DNA Show. We are a new fitness podcast because that's exactly what YouTube needs, is another podcast. We're here to talk about the truths of the industry, our story, and hopefully to answer your guys' questions on health, nutrition, fitness, sleep, psychology, all of the above. We just like to sit down really and shoot the breeze about our experiences and potentially how we can help.
Yeah. So that's the plan realistically. We do want your feedback over the weeks and months. We want you to be sending us the questions, whatever they may be, trying to answer them as best we can. If we can't though, I'm always open and say, you know what, I'm not familiar with that as an answer.
Yeah.
But if I can, I'll go away and find out. I'm never one of these people that think I know everything, and I think that's one of the problems with the whole
the industry at the minute is very absolute. So you know, it's either right or wrong, and sometimes there is no right or wrong answer. So hopefully we can come to a conclusion using my experience and your experience. Now, to give you a bit of background on me and Dean, we both do two not too dissimilar things, but we've both got the same sort of passion. We believe in nutrition, we believe in fitness. We believe in looking after yourself and making things quite functional. I do something different, Dean does something different. So it's going to be a nice little balance, and there's going to be sort of two viewpoints on how you can make a decision on what you potentially want to do. So you might see a little bit of a rant in one of these videos on if either of us have got a point that we really feel strongly on. But yeah, send your questions in, guys, and we will get on to answering those. So today, we want to talk to you about our story, okay? I've got 9 years of experience in the fitness industry, as 16 was the age that I could start. Dean, you've got
16 going to 17 years.
Yeah, so between us we've got 25, 26 years experience in the fitness industry. And it's always nice to hear our stories because it's a question that I get a lot personally. I don't know if you get that story quite a lot.
Every time I see somebody,
is how did we get to this point where we're both owning fitness companies? So I'd like to start off with yourself, I'm kind of throwing you under the bus, but how did you get yourself into fitness?
Right, long story. So I left school, had no interest as far as getting into the fitness industry. I actually was in engineering firms and making fitted bedroom furniture of all things. But I always had a level of exercising. Used to play rugby at school. My big passion has always been martial arts. And throughout that time of doing my original type of job, so I was always training in martial arts to a point where I was teaching unprofessionally. I was running clubs, helping my instructors run that club and so on. And that's really what sparked my interest in the fitness world. Now, part of my original black belt was I had to do a project on anatomy and physiology. It's not just about punching and kicking; it's about knowing how the body works and so on. That really sparked the biological side, exactly. So that really sparked my interest into how the body was working and what I was doing with it. So fast forward over the years, and I was getting bored of my job, as many people do. Had enough of the factory type work. And as I say, teaching the martial arts, I thought, well, what could I do? And I thought, well, why don't I teach fitness? So went down the track of how do you come about being a personal trainer. So through bits and bobs, many people, as you know, you can literally get a personal training certificate from the off-go, be level 2,
6 weeks.
Within 6 weeks, correct. But I really wanted to make sure I had a great foundation and not just get that piece of paper. So I actually went to university first, did my sports sciences at Coventry University. After my first year there, we were lucky enough to have a gym instruction course run through the summer holidays, which I did my level 2. After university, then started working in some mainstream gyms, just trying to build up the experience within the industry. As you know, some people talk about now, experience is a massive thing.
Yeah.
So started working, just doing sort of leisure assistant jobs, getting all the cleaning done, as we all know.
Where we all start.
Yeah. If anyone's, just a quick sidetrack, if anyone's thinking of getting into fitness, my original level 2 gym instructor had a really good point. He said, don't have any misconceptions of what a gym instructor is.
Yeah.
It's a glorified cleaner.
Yeah, we've got exactly the same. First ever job. cleaning treadmills, getting the mop out, making sure that everything was right, then you can fitness instruct.
Exactly. Yeah, so cleaning first, gym instruction second.
Yeah.
But anyway, and that was the first thing we said, but before we even said anything else, you are a glorified cleaner.
Yeah.
However, you've got to go through that process. So yeah, did my level 3 then, and advanced instruction after that, and just started to work my way through a lot of the mainstream names that you hear out there. Training people the way I've been trained to train people. Now, as you know, my position on health and fitness now is a lot different to when I first learned the trade, so to speak. And when I look back, I was quite annoyed, I think is the word, and why the results that I was trying to get people wasn't always happening. You know, you kind of have this vision of get your gym instruction qualification, get your personal training qualification, and you're going to make everybody happy. But I found that wasn't working.
I think it's something the personal trainer once said to me was it's textbook fitness.
Exactly.
So you can't expect to get the same result doing the same thing, and I think I know where you're coming from there.
One size fits all. There's
Yeah,
no such
exactly.
thing.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
No such thing as one size fits all. And again, a little tangent off. I think that's why this show hopefully is going to take on, because we've both got these different dynamics of how we're going to work there. Yeah, so bringing it back, so I was a bit, like I say, annoyed probably with myself at why wasn't it happening, and I had a few questions popping up in my mind over that time, and that was, am I a bad trainer? Always a chance.
Which we all go through.
Yeah, you know, there's a chance that you're not any good at what you do. Secondly, were the people lying to me, i.e. my clients, when I say, how's your diet been this week? And they come in and they say, oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you been exercising this week? Yeah, I've been in the gym 4 times. They could have been lying.
Yeah.
However, the actual conclusion I came to, and I'll tell you my kind of light bulb moment in a second, was I was actually teaching most of the people the wrong method. I was teaching that textbook one size fits all approach that in a lot of cases, and I'm sure you found this as well, does not work.
It's something that I call the 3 sets of 10 to success. Everybody does 3 sets of 10, we do some bench, we do some squat, we do some deadlift, and then we expect to get exactly the same result. It's not really the, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's going to get you a result, but it's not really the most effective.
Yeah, small changes happen, particularly within that first 6 to 12 weeks. If you're lucky, they can keep going that long. But then things peter out and they drop back, we'll be in that loophole. But yeah, going back to my light bulb moment. So I've been through uni, did my courses, did the basics. Now, and I was looking for this kind of answer. Now, I was given a book. You know, my whole approach is what is classed as ancestral health and primal. You know, I'm looking at the evolution of man and how we should move, how we should exercise, what we should be eating. And the first book that sparked my brain with this was called The New Evolution Diet by Professor Arthur Bailey. I was given it by one of my clients, coincidentally, just out of interest, and that was my light bulb moment, I like to call it. That whole ping moment of, you know what, there's another way of doing things, not that 3 sets of 10 to success. So I didn't just go, right, this book is the be all and end all. Since then, incidentally, I've read nothing but that type of literature. But I didn't just jump in and say, right, this is going to work for everybody again. It's not that case. I started to practice on myself. So changed my diet. I was on this kind of standard food pyramid that we all know. Not necessarily love, but all know. So I switched it up, which is something we'll come into a bit more detail. I'm not going to go through too much of that. That's what we'll be doing over the next few months. I found that even in just myself, big changes. I felt more energetic. I was getting out of bed easier, sleeping better. My body composition changed. I mean, I was always in relatively good shape, so like I thought, but it improved. My exercise, obviously martial arts is very functional based, and I always had a functional tweak on the training I did with people, but it took fully away from the mainstream gym approach, so the machine-based approach. And okay, I do know they do have their place within the industry. More importantly, again, coming down to the members' retention and so forth, but they do have a place within certain training structures. But for me, didn't really enjoy them, moved fully away, so I'm all about full body movement patterns.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And that was, like I say, my light bulb moment. So after probably 18 months or so, I started to integrate some of these ideas with my clients. And the people who put it into practice, because that's another big bugbear of mine, you can give them all the information.
Advice in the world, yeah.
You know, you get so many people through the door. You give them as much information as you can. Say, go and do that and see what happens. If they don't do it, it doesn't work, does it? But anyway, the people that put it into practice, I would say 99% of them got some results.
Some result, yeah.
Even not just on a minimal level, you know. So we overlook the sleep massively. We overlook the stress massively. We just think you have to get in the gym and eat less, that sort of scenario. But people implementing these changes, totally changing their dietary pattern and feeling better.
Yeah.
And that's really what led me then, you know, coming to the end of this intro story really, to setting up Primal Nature. There's lots of bigger names and more intelligent people out there than me that I could drop out there, and I'm sure we'll talk about over the next few months, that are implementing the similar sort of mythology. Mythology, is that a word?
It's close.
Philosophy.
It's close,
yeah.
It's an ology.
Yeah. But I really wanted to start to implement that as what I do with people. Taking that ancestral approach, breaking it down right back to basics. And then you know some of the things that it's very, very simple to implement things. You know, one step at a time. Small things make a big change long term.
Yeah.
So yeah, set up Primal Nature. It's coming up to the 3-year mark of doing that from the website base. You know, I started out my blog.
I remember you writing those blogs.
Yeah.
They were pretty cool. We'd stand and discuss our ideas on potentially what are the perceived problems, and then you would break it down into your own primal way of looking at things. I think that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah. I mean, the blog has kind of dropped to the wayside now. I mean, obviously we do video because people want video.
Yeah, of course.
But the blog, unless you've got half hour to sit and read my 700-800 word manuscript on the biochemistry, then feel free to go back on my blog on the website. There's probably 2 years worth.
There's a ton of material on there.
But you know, I've kind of had to drop that because there's a lot of time and effort that goes into that, and not many people read it, fortunately. So yeah, led to my Primal Nature setup, and that is how now I work with people. So taking it to that ancestral approach, looking at how that body works. But just to, before we move on to yourself, it isn't a one-fits-all approach.
Of course, yeah.
I set a basic template, basic nutrition plan of real food bottom line, gentle movement, and then lifestyle hacks coming later on.
And then adaptation.
Adaptation for each individual, yeah. So, you know, I do work with a few people, married couples. What works for the lady of the group won't necessarily work for the man and vice versa. And that's why I have to tweak as we go.
Yeah, of course.
Certainly isn't one size fits all. We do, and I think that's another problem. Going back to the whole education of personal trainers and fitness worlds, it's just that one size fits all approach, and it doesn't matter.
But the first question I've got for you is, I've never been out to the fitness industry. It's the only thing I've done for 9 years. Did you see the financial change between the industry you were in before and the fitness industry? Because notoriously we're in a poorly paid industry.
Yeah.
Did it have an effect?
Massive.
Is the first thing I'd like to ask you.
So if I rewind that then to when I was doing my engineering work and my it was CNC work and computer programming to make fancy shapes and things there on a machine. I was on not a huge wage, but a pretty good wage for a guy in his early 20s. And moving into the fitness world, cut that down by half.
Yeah.
But I made that life choice because I could now, if I look back now, 16, 17 years later, if I hadn't made that decision then, I would be miserable.
Yeah.
Totally miserable.
I think it's something that I've alluded on before in previous videos. I think a lot of people are looking at the fitness industry now as a get-rich-quick industry. It's very easy to go, oh, here's the picture of my abs, here's a protein shake or something that I recommend for you to take. oh, you must be earning thousands. It's not the case.
No.
And I think a lot of people who come into the fitness industry look at the PTs get paid £30 an hour tagline, and very quickly realise, as we said at the beginning, you're walking into being a glorified cleaner to begin with, and you're doing sales, you're doing marketing, you're doing outreach, you're doing a million different things that isn't training.
Yep.
And it's not, for guys that are potentially thinking about getting into the industry, it's something that I believe passionately is go into a club and see how it runs, okay? Because it's totally different to thinking you're going to walk into 30 clients a week, being able to charge what you want, training, you know, the biggest celebs on the planet. It's not the way, it's the stories you hear, but it's not essentially what happens. And that's why I wanted to ask you about that point, because I've never seen the other side. I've only ever worked in fitness for my sins.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, the second question I've got for you is, what was it about the primal lifestyle that really drew you towards it? As you know, looking at it from someone who doesn't do primal, it can seem quite, not extreme, but a bit more difficult to follow.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
Difficult, I'd say no.
Mm-hmm.
Getting your head around it, yes. So from a mainstream gym involvement approach, it's pretty simple, isn't it? You come into the gym, you do your 30, 40 minutes, whatever it might be, of exercise, you go home, you eat your low calorie, low fat meal, and dusted. It's simple for anybody to take that in as a way of doing things. Doesn't work, but it's simple,
yeah.
Right? So to have the thought process of we are the same species as we have been for 200,000 to 300,000 years of modern man, it's quite hard to get the concept of how we should be living. You know, we're not designed for this modern world. You know, particularly this last 80 years, like post-war sort of era, is totally different to even 200 years ago.
Yeah.
Not to mention hundreds of thousands of years ago. We're a ancient being in a modern world.
Yeah.
And we're still, we are still genetically the same.
Yeah.
And that's really what resonated with me to make that change, because I think I could, you know, see that as, well, surely that makes sense. If we are the way we were at the dawn of modern man 200 or so thousand years ago, surely that is how we should be trying to live now.
It's something I've looked into, and I look at, like, the birth of agriculture was what, 12,000 to 10 to 12,000 years ago. If we're saying modern man, let's take for example 200,000 years old. That means we had 188,000 years of living before we got to agriculture. So I can understand how you come to that sort of conclusion, as well as the movements, because I think in modern society, I was listening to a podcast the other day on S-shaped spines and J-shaped spines, and how people don't get themselves into a functional position anymore. When we're both sat down here, what you'd expect to see for the 188,000 years was sort of sat in a crouched
primal
squat. Yeah. So I can totally understand how it works. How do your guys seem to adapt to it? Do they lose weight pretty quickly? Do they lose it sort of gradually? Is it something that a lot of you guys stay on for a long time?
Very different for everybody. Majority of cases, and we're just talking from the nutrition point of view now. Let's sort of move off the movement pattern. Yeah. But if we're looking at purely a weight loss program, I always want to address the nutrition first. If people implement it over the first 2 to 3 weeks, 7 to 8 pounds easily done.
Wow.
In most cases.
Yeah.
The most I had somebody lose, not to say that this, you know, that's a target for everybody, within 1 week was 11 pounds.
Wow.
Okay, we're going to go down the argument of water loss and so on.
Yeah, I understand. Alarm phases and all that.
Correct. You know, there's all the different arguments about that. But at the end of the day, most people are motivated by how much they weigh.
Of course. Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, and that's a discussion we'll have later, I'm sure. But that if they see that number drop, psychologically, bang.
Yeah. Hooked.
Yeah. Whether it's 4 or 5 pounds, because normally they're used to maybe 1 or 2 from the start, but they get 4 or 5 pounds as an average, I'd say, or to that higher end. As soon as they see that number, it's a big motivator to carry on.
Yeah.
Now, as with all programs, it does slow down. Going back to that kind of water weight loss and so on, your body that adaptation phase. But again, that's when we tweak. So I'm a big promoter of journaling your food diaries.
Yeah,
Write
that's
it down.
the same sort of thing as I like to encourage my guys to do.
Because I can look at that sheet then, and let's say they weigh in 1 week and they get that thing. I don't like to weigh people, but like I said, it's the driving
Yeah, of
force.
course, yeah.
They can look at those on the scale, they've lost a pound or stayed the same. We would put a pound on, that 24-hour variation from 3 to 4 pounds anyway. But they say, well, I've had such a good week. There's only when we then break it down, and particularly if I've had that diet sheet, I can go, no, well, you know what? We've got this as a link. We've got this. I felt starving on Wednesday. I wonder if that's because you increased your carbohydrate load on the day before.
Yeah.
It's going to increase your hunger hormones and so forth. So I can then look at why that person may have stayed the same. And hopefully that's part of the coaching process to say, look, this has happened, let's just put it behind us, get over it, you're back to it next week, or now. You haven't got to have an argument then for, oh, it's not working and so on. And like I said earlier, if people do it, it works.
Yeah.
Got to implement it.
I think what I really like about Primal and the way that you set your nutrition up is it's not that hard to follow. Here is a list of food.
Yeah.
Eat that. I mean, as long as you're not eating 44 eggs, and I know I'm taking that to an extreme, but as long as you're not overindulging on huge amounts of food, I don't really see how it's difficult to follow.
It is a list of foods to avoid, a list of foods that you can eat. Away you go. Follow the ones you can eat. And it takes practice and it takes time. And the most important point, we're going to we're going to have a lot of tips and so forth, but I just want to put this one in there now. The first thing I want everybody to do is learn how to cook.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Even from the most basic level. We kind of joke that people can't cook an egg. People can't cook an egg.
Yeah, you're right.
They can't make an omelette.
Yeah.
The most basic of things to do. And if you can't cook, you're going to struggle on any eating plan. You've got to be able to have that basic skill of cooking, and it's a lost skill, and that takes us down a whole other level of things, about how the social side of things has changed. The generation now can't cook anything. That's because they're having their parents didn't cook a great deal. Their parents were giving them
that's
an issue
and that sort of
thing. That goes real deep, but that's number one. Get them to cook real food. And that's the thing I always want to just highlight. It's about real food. And looking at that ancestral approach, could that person on the savannah or the jungle have got it? And okay, there's no such thing, you've heard the term paleo diet, similar sort of idea. There's no one true paleo diet. The people that are living up north are eating more whale and sea lion blubber and so forth, people more in the jungle, more tubers and so digging out the ground. It's very diverse, so they can't, that whole paleo element has kind of gone off the boil a little bit. It's been taken so much out of context.
I think a lot of people as well looked at paleo and went, but we're not chasing lions and we're not swinging out of trees anymore or anything like that. We're now beings that sit in offices and we've got water bottles available. So do you think that had an effect on, do you think that has an effect on people when they look at the nutrition and go, okay, it's primitive, or why would it be primitive?
In what context do you mean?
So let's say, for example, now you give someone a nutrition plan, and they say, well, why am I cutting X and X out, and why am I having this and this and this? Do you feel like people sort of go, no, I don't want to follow that side of thing?
Well, big one. Fat.
Right. This is what I was trying to lead you to.
So that is the main concern with the mainstream dietary approach. That is the ingestion of fat. So we hear all of the scare factors of heart disease, you name it, down the line. Obviously, fat's got more calories per gram than any of the macro, so it's going to be not good for your weight. We've kind of demonised the whole fat side of things. Then we go down the cholesterol argument as well, another one for a later date. And they've got that scare factor about eating fat. And the thing that I always try and implement though is that it's the fats that we've had in the modern world that have been the problem.
Yeah, I agree.
So the industrial processed oils, standard vegetable oils, rapeseed oil, all these type of things that have got that health halo because it's a monosaccharide, which are healthy fats. Whereas more naturally occurring fats, which are the ones I promote, remember that word naturally occurring. So animal fats, so the fat on your steak, you haven't got to go out of your way to eat it, but you can eat it. Cooking with traditional fats like lard, which is pig fat, butter if you're dairy tolerant, obviously olive oil's in there, avocado oil if you want to invest in the product. You know, you've got all of these naturally occurring fats which are good for us, and that is the bit that people find it hard to pull in and get over that fear factor.
I think because we're taught that you shouldn't be fat, you are therefore not going to eat fat, because you wouldn't eat the product of something you don't want to be, so to speak. So it's difficult really, because it's something that I feel really passionately about is, oh, I'm just a bit fat. No, you're a bit obese. Obese is a, oh wow, I'm in a difficult position here, but I'm a bit fat. Oh well, you're a bit fat, we're all a bit fat. It's not really a word that, it's a word that people don't want to be, but it's not a word that I particularly fear anymore, so to speak. And it's totally the wrong word. It's totally the wrong word for the context of modern society, so to speak, because you're not going to eat the food that you don't want to be.
Because we see it as such a basic of that's a phrase, isn't it? You are what you eat.
Yeah.
Nah, not necessarily.
Of course not. No, if you eat an avocado, you're not going to turn green. You know, that's not the way it works.
It's not that, isn't it? But I think we take that literally, particularly from that fat point of view. And then we get obviously the health issues that may or may not occur. In most cases, from the fat source, good quality, naturally occurring fats, it's a non-issue.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's my story, really, mate. What about you?
So
go for it. From the start, how did it happen for you?
We'll take a little break in between. We'll take a little break just in between this sort of setting, just so I can get things flowing. But I really do like that story because you found what it works for you. And then that's trying to help people, not force people down. This is the only thing that works. It's nice to hear someone say, this doesn't work for everybody, or you might not be completely adapted to this, but you found that the guys that do move into the primal way of eating get the results, and that's what we're in the industry for. That's what we're in the game for, is to get people results,
no matter how they do it.
Just however it works for you, it works for you.
If people eat a junk food diet and they are fit, healthy, and functioning well,
go for it. Go for it. Oh, could you imagine? That'd be amazing.
It's not going to happen, but if that was the case, if it works for that person, fantastic. Doesn't matter what angle it is. If you are fit, healthy, you've got no chronic disease condition creeping up on you, you know, and you're enjoying your life, great.
Yeah, I think that's something that we're trying to explain through these videos for you guys, is that, you know, these aren't the gospel truths. We're just talking about our experiences and the way that we see that we've created these experiences. So yeah, we're going to take a little short break now, and we'll be back with my. And we're back with the second part of the DNA show, and in this part we'll be talking a bit more about my fitness experiences. So,
yeah, well, if you're still with us, hopefully you've found it interesting what I had to say. So yeah, we're going to throw it over to Abe now and start from scratch for you. Obviously, you've been in the industry a good while now, but take it right back to square one. What got you into it? Why are you still here? What do you love about it?
Cool. So I started in the industry 10 years ago, so it'll be 10 years this year. I actually started off voluntary at a gym that was just down the road from me. I wasn't even old enough. I told them I was 16, I weren't, I was 15 when I started there. I've always been into health and fitness, I've always been a keen footballer. I enjoyed football as a kid, and it was something that I did sporadically as a kid. I loved GCSE PE. I had a real good group of teachers at school that I loved PE. Not just the physical side, but the theory side as well. And I wanted to continue that. But I went into my A-levels and did the International Baccalaureate, which is sort of like, they describe it as 6 A-levels. I wouldn't really know because I didn't really know what I signed up for. But about 5 or 6 months in, I thought, no, this isn't for me. I was writing too many essays and I weren't doing anything physical. So I got in contact with a fitness training company that were offering a £100 apprenticeship, and in 17 days I would be a level 2 fitness instructor. And at the time I was still working at a private facility, so I went and did my 17 days. How in 17 days you can become qualified in level 2 fitness, I have got no idea, because you could be instructing someone completely wrong.
Yeah.
But either way, passed with, I think it was like 95%. It was a really high pass rate, and then got myself more voluntary work in that place. So I upped my hours, and I was just working in a sports store at the time, just trying to get myself some money. So about Christmas time in 2010, a sales role came up. Now, at the time, I was just trying to blag myself into the industry any way I could get in. So I went, you know what? Let me try and get you some leads. Let me try and get you some leads so you can sell, and I'll take the sales role. So I took the sales role on 12k, which I don't even know is legal anymore. But either way, I took the sales role on 12k, and I joined a very, very good sales team.
Yeah.
And I was crap. I was absolutely awful. I can remember one of the other sales guys walking out, laughing so hard at how bad I was at selling, which was I mean, at the time I was what, 16. I didn't know what to say. It was my first real job, so I went on. They actually sent me on a training course, and it was the best thing I did because they taught me how to do sales. They taught me what to say, how to let the other person talk, and it's something that I still use now.
Yeah.
Is letting that person talk and getting an idea, listening, finding the emotional hotspot, pinging onto the emotional hotspot, and away you go. So I came back and I did pretty well. My first month target was 20. I think I did about 4, and the other guys did 16 for me, so I hit my target. And from there it began to grow. I got a target. I mean, the targets were frightening. The targets were crazy. The next month I had 50, and the next month was 75. And at the time we had a real good offer deal. So I was just smashing the target on then, and then they changed the price. And I'd never sold on anything but price. I'd only ever sold on what I sort of went, yeah, it's this price. Do you want to buy it? The price was unbelievably low. So when it went up, I didn't have a clue.
Right.
And from there I struggled massively.
Just a quick question on that. So you're in the industry, but not doing what you wanted to do.
Oh God, no.
So did you enjoy that side?
Do you know what? It's the most fun I had in the industry because that team atmosphere was amazing. I mean, I can remember the shoutings, I can remember us screaming at each other, I can remember us hugging, I can remember the closeout day when you need to do 250 sales and you're on 239, on the last day you end up on like 300 for some reason. Everyone gets the same. It was lawless, it was crazy, but God, it was brilliant. Because it taught me what the industry was about from the private point of view.
Yeah.
It was sales driven. The fitness industry didn't really have a massive fitness sort of focus at the time. They were just trying to get sales. So I learned that side before I learned the fitness side, which brings me back to about 7 months in. I was teaching a core class, so an abs class. To be honest with you, looking back on it now, it was absolutely terrible. But for some reason, everybody loved it, and I went from 3 people on the first week to the point where we were turning people away. It was the only class that certain personal trainers would send their guys to, and I was really enjoying it. And my manager at the time said to me, "Look, we're not retaining members very well. How would you feel about going onto the fitness team?" At the time, I would probably have lost my job with how poorly I was doing on the sales. So I said, yeah, took the role. I mean, at the time, I'm now 17. And we had this thing called license to sell, which is where the fitness guys would try and sell. So we had a target of 26, and I think I did 20 and the guys did 6, but they all got the same commission anyway. But the core class began to develop. I then took my spin qualification, I took my circuit qualification. I'm still a level 2 at this time. I've just started doing my level 3, which was an interesting story because they took it off me the day before I got it, but we'll go into that at a different point. So I just started teaching classes, and I had my first ever bomb session. So this was about the November time. One of the instructors, who was like an industry god of teaching classes, called in sick. Adrian. I got no music, I've got no setup, I've got no way of teaching the class. I had one CD in my car which had like the worst mix of rubbish music you've ever heard. And I went in and I bombed badly. I was the most embarrassed person. People walked out. It was atrocious. I didn't even know what the hand position. I'd done a course and just got thrown into a class, and it was awful.
Without experience?
With nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I think the guys in the class could have taught a better class than me, but either way, went forward. And my manager, fair play to her, said, you know what, pick yourself up, you're teaching it next Friday, because this is going to be a long-term stick. You're teaching it next Friday. So I spent the entire week, just every day, I was on the spin bike, I was learning, I couldn't walk by the Wednesday because my legs were aching so badly. So it got to the Friday and all the guys got in and went, oh, it's this guy teaching again. And I just let rip. And I'd gone from a complete zero to a hero.
Oh.
And that was the first time in the industry I ever got that buzz feeling where you go, wow, I did that.
And you see why you enjoy it.
And I see why I enjoy it. And I love the instructing. I love just getting off the bike and just screaming at people and turning the resistances up for them, and a bit of humour. The music was terrible, but it was so loud, it was pumping. And I changed the light system, I changed the way the bikes were. And it was that moment that I went, I can do this. I'm really, really good at this. So I started picking up a couple of gym programs and I started learning more about fitness. Was I a good instructor? No. God, I don't think you're a good instructor for the first 2 or 3 years. You haven't. I was doing my 3 sets of 10 to success, and you know, I didn't even know what an Olympic lift was. I mean, I think I could bench about 30 kilos myself, so I was probably about 10 stone, wringing wet. And strangely enough, I actually injured my ankle in the gym, and I was off work for a little while, and I got a call while I was off, and I thought, here you go, I've been sacked. And the manager at the time went, hey, we want you to be health and fitness manager. I kind of stopped for a little bit. This was just before my birthday, my 18th birthday, so I turned 18, and 2 days later I was made health and fitness manager. And the idea was we were trying to retain as many members as possible because 2 local facilities had been merged. There was far too many members, and we were just losing members by the day. So my job was tasked with keeping people, so I changed the setup of the equipment. We got some more stuff in. I employed a guy, I won't mention his name, who is probably, along with yourself, probably one of the best fitness instructors I've ever met. He now owns a gym. He was absolutely phenomenal, and that was a key team. We had 4 people on this team, and it was a phenomenal team, and we did really, really well. But the job then became not what I signed up for.
I was going to ask, it took you off the gym floor.
It stopped me training, and I was in the office doing fire checks and making sure that I'd done mentions, and social media had just started. And this was about the time when the budget industry boomed, so Pure Gym had just become Pure Gym. Yeah. So we were all going, nah, this facility with no instructors and just PTs and a couple of cameras in the corner. How wrong we were. How crazy we all went, nah, that'll never work. It boomed. And I wasn't enjoying the job. I was not ready for that role.
Right.
But because I was in that position for certain reasons I won't go into, I weren't ready for the role, and I then joined the public sector. I worked for a council facility, and that is where I learned fitness. I learned that I wasn't the best. I learned that it wasn't dog eat dog. I learned the more calm, cultured approach, more let's make sure that we can maintain, let's make sure that we're providing good things for the members, And I was just an instructor. I was an out-and-out instructor. I was doing 4 or 5 hours of pure instruction a day. And it's where I learned Olympic lifts, plyometrics, a fabled thing called a burpee, which nobody seems to like. I got that. I learned what it was for me, and then I started to learn about nutrition, and I started to learn about sleep, and I started to learn about psychology. But it wasn't somewhere where I could progress, because there were some guys above me, and then in the public industry you get people who stay in their jobs for a long time. They're very well paid, and to be honest with you, the guys above me were better than me. At the time I thought I was the best thing since sliced bread. I was a 19-year-old that went, you know, I've just been told that fitness first, I'm the greatest thing that ever happened, and now I've come to a public facility where I was nowhere near the best.
Right.
Nowhere near the best.
So it's a bit of a rude awakening.
Oh God, it was a real rude awakening. I mean, my manager at the time was level 3 personal trainer, Pilates trained, Les Mills trained, Beachbody Live trained. I weren't even in their league.
Yeah.
And it was a real sort of come to Jesus moment where I just looked at myself and went, you're not the best. You're nowhere near the best. You're going to have to start learning, and this is where my level 3 started to kick in. So I started doing my level 3 at this point, learning more. And I decided, because I thought, you know, I still had that mentality of I'm going to be the best. I thought, you know, I'll go back into sales. I earned loads of money at sales. I went back into the private industry. 3 months later, nah, I was ready to leave the industry.
Just take that back. I think that's a really important point. In actually, to become a good trainer, you need to accept the fact that you did, that you're not the best.
Yeah, I'm not the best in them.
Well, nobody is.
Nowhere near.
There's always somebody better in any walk of life, isn't there? I think that's an interesting point in your story, is that you went through all the same sort of things that I did as well with the qualifications, but acknowledging the fact that you are not the best and you are not the be-all and end-all of it is a massive step in order to help you develop within that world. I'm still learning.
We're all still learning, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think what was crazy was when that first ever job, I got told I was the biggest thing ever. Right. Everybody in the company knew my name. I was the guy that maxed out all the classes. I was the guy that got the best instructors in. I was the guy with the best team around me. My group exercise manager was absolutely amazing at building a timetable which was so successful. I had 2 guys underneath me that were phenomenal instructors, and it made my job really easy, but it gave me false ego. So I walked into another company and thought, I'm going to breeze this. I'm going to be CEO in 5 years. I'm the best thing ever, and it cut me down to size. Now, I would say that I've got quite a big ego. I do like to, think that I'm the best at what I do. But it's that moment where you go, you've got a long, long way to go here. And I remember a guy from Life Fitness, and I will mention his name. His name's Keith Smith. And I remember looking at Keith we were doing a Life Fitness training course with the Synergy equipment. And the way, he didn't even say anything, the way he moved his body was just that little bit of, come on then guys, hey, let's build it. He'd done more in 30 seconds than I'd done in my entire class. Yeah. But I remember coming up against a guy, we were in sort of like a battle type thing, and this guy he'd been in the industry about 16, 17 years, real good instructor. And I remember him sort of doing the same sort of things what Keith did. He had that chest up, right guys, let's do it, let's go. And I thought, I'm not getting beat here. No way. So I went for it myself. Yeah. And it was the first time where I went, do you know what, I'm on a par with somebody. I'm not as good as them as an instructor, but I'm on a par in terms of enthusiasm, and I found my niche. I found what it was that I loved. I loved being the enthusiastic guy that bounces and cartwheels around the gym. Everybody goes, oh God, AIDS here, or whoa, AIDS here. I was that guy.
That's what makes you good at motivating people.
Yeah.
If they see that uplifting spirit almost.
I was the presence builder. I always written on my CVs, I like an electric gym floor. I used to love the music pumping. I used to go around, I used to know everyone's name. I'd probably know their dog's name. I'd know everything like that. So I found what it was for me. And why I decided to go back into sales, I think I was driven by money at the time. Me and my girlfriend had just come off a holiday, and I thought, oh, okay, well, if this is what it is, I'm going to go in and I'm going to earn all this commission. Stupid idea. I'm an out-and-out instructor.
Yeah.
I love instructing, and I did a 3-month stint at a private club, and I hated it.
Right.
That was the closest I ever came to leaving the industry.
Right.
It's a question I'll ask you later, is, did you ever feel like that? But I hated the industry at that time. I hated what it had become. At the time it was very, just throw people into a gym, there's some equipment, do what you want. Yeah. Pay a $5 for a virtual workout or something like that. And I just didn't enjoy what it was, so I wanted to get back to what I was really good at, and that was instructing. I wouldn't say I'm a very good class instructor. I'm just really motivated, really enthusiastic. So I went into the hotel hospitality. Now I've got to say, my last place, and you can see it on my LinkedIn, the last place I worked was the diamond in the crest for me, because that's where I met you. Yeah. That's where I met some of the guys who had trained me before were here. I was meeting guys that were there, and I was down here. I was nowhere near as good as them. But everyone that came in saw the enthusiasm and the motivation that I had. The first day I was on the gym floor, I was booking people in for programs. I was trying to pack my day up with people to train. And it was at that point I finished my level 3 and I became a PT, and I gained my first client, who's still with me now, believe it or not. And that was the feeling. That constantly seeing that person, helping them to changing their nutrition, changing the style of training, looking at posture and looking at adaptations and looking at all these different things that I learnt on my level 3, and I was allowed to express at my last place of employment before I came self-employed. It allowed me to just go. Yeah. And I burst. I exploded.
You found your niche.
And that's where I became me.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what I did, and I felt at the time I was back to that fitness first, best thing in the world. I am the best person alive, and I really enjoyed it. I was working 60, 70 hours a week. You couldn't keep me at home. Yeah. And from there the money began to grow. I bought my first house, and the opportunities that were arising for me were absolutely amazing. And then you left. Which was, I think we knew really, but you left and the management position became available, and it's no fault of anybody else's but myself. I'm not a manager.
You've fallen in that hole again.
I've fallen back into that. What was I thinking? Because I thought, you know what, forget it, you're not going to work for yourself. It's too much of a risk. You've got a house now. Don't take the leap. Don't take the risk. Take the management route. You can build yourself up and you can get yourself into a position where you're happy. I can't manage. It's as simple as that. I'll be the first to admit, myself and my clients, I'm so motivated to manage what they do, to get them the results. It's that motivates me. But to tell someone to go and clean a poolside is not me. And it's no one else's fault but my own. I blame myself for it. I wanted the management role. I figured out what management actually is, and it took me away from being the instructor again. Yeah. And I couldn't do the personal training, and I wasn't getting the results, and I wasn't as motivated to drive someone to get the nutrition changed. And it beat me down to the point where I thought, you know what, I should have quit the industry. I should have gone and got paid to do something, really high that I don't enjoy. Yeah. And one of the guys in the gym, who's a great friend of mine now, actually said to me, you need to do this on your own. Right. But if you have, I didn't do business studies, I didn't do anything like that. I listen to a lot of podcasts now, and I listen to a lot of, I've probably read more books than I've ever read, but at the time I wasn't reading books and I weren't learning about what business was. I didn't have to run a business. But the first thing I went out and did, as everyone does, which is a stupid idea, is I went and got myself a logo, so I give myself an ego boost. And then I gain a couple of outside clients and I'd train them in other places like parks, and I'd go to the house and all this different stuff. And there was a day where I trained a guy, and we'd had a result that I loved, and I got that buzz, I got that feeling back, I got that euphoric feeling where they've gone, you're the difference in my life, eh? And I got that person something that they couldn't attain on their own, and I knew that was the time then.
Yeah, and that's the passion.
And I started to build MA Fitness. Now, MA, most people don't even know, mathematical artistry. Now, I actually don't even know if this is true, but I got the idea of this as in, you have to do the maths before you can build the art. So I believe that the human body is built on numbers.
Right.
I'm very numerical, okay?
Yeah.
I don't really work off feelings, I like numbers.
Hard facts.
Facts.
Yeah.
Or, well, to be honest with you, a lot of people say that numbers lie. I think statistics lie.
Yeah.
And statistics are numbers, so therefore numbers lie. I don't think the hard numbers behind biology really do lie. I think the research is out there that shows that numbers work. And I was listening to a podcast in the late 2016 about an artist. I can't even tell you what artist this is now. But to draw the perfect circle, he drew straight lines first, measured it out, did trigonometry, all this different stuff, drew the circle and then rubbed it out. So before he did the art, he did the maths.
Right.
And that's where MA Fitness came from. And about November last year, I couldn't do it anymore. And it was not that the company had got me to the point that I couldn't do it. I pushed myself to the point I couldn't do it. And I was letting people down, I was making stupid decisions, I was doing very, very silly things which aren't me. And I was doing those things because I just didn't know what to do. I think I got into a state of, I'll never say depression or anything like that. I didn't.
Would you say the word lost?
Lost, yeah, I was lost. I didn't want to go to work.
Yeah.
I remember pulling over one day and finding a colleague and saying, I don't want to go in, and I just didn't know why. And I think I look at it now that I'd lost what the fitness industry meant to me.
Yeah. Just to backtrack it a little bit, I think it's for what you said. You were in a position where you were really enjoying yourself, enjoying what you were doing, but then the opportunity came up to follow the traditional path, should we call it?
Yeah.
Where you see a step, you should go for it, and so on and so on. But I think there's probably a lot of crossovers into of life's paths. If you are happy where you are, nothing wrong with staying there.
Of course. And you can also make, I didn't realise this, but you can also make, you can imagine that step up there. You can make that step work for you. That step can be that step.
Yeah.
You just don't realise the potential of that step.
Yeah.
Now, we always talk about ceilings, that personal trainers have got ceiling prices and they don't go above and they don't do this. I'm not a bog standard PT. I look at nutrition, I look at psychology, I look at sleep, I look at, I look at posture, I look at alignment, I look at Olympic lifting, I look at all these different things. I've got my exercise referral qualification. I love working with people who've got these sort of things and helping them out. And I lost that.
Yeah.
And that's where I'd try and say to anybody who's watching this video who wants to come into the fitness industry and they want to do it for training people, train people. Don't look at, well, you can if you enjoy it, but don't look at going into that.
Unless that's your goal.
Unless that's your goal.
Area.
If you come into the fitness industry to be a trainer, train people.
Yeah.
Because that's where I see, and I've spoke to a lot of people about it since, that's where they begin to not enjoy the industry.
Yeah.
Management is set for some people. I've worked under some fantastic managers, especially at the last place I worked. I mean, I've got to say that because you're here. Yeah. But I've worked under some really brilliant people who've helped me progress to where I am now, but nothing will ever make me feel the way that training somebody and getting a result makes me feel.
Yeah.
You could pay me 30 pence an hour. I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care, I live in a box.
Right.
I love doing what I do.
Just for reference, he's doing a block booking, £3.
Yeah, 10 sessions, 3 quid. Yeah, no.
You set yourself up for that.
I've shot myself. But it was that feeling of just taking the leap, and I spoke to my girlfriend about it, and I think it was the fear of taking the jump and going into something. And you know, I spoke to the guys here at Staffordshire Performance Centre, and a very unique opportunity became available to me. Now, I'm not saying, you know, do I believe in God? No, but was this a God-given opportunity? It seems like it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I kind of fell on my feet, and
things worked out for the best.
I think it works out for the best. And now I do what I enjoy doing. People say to me, you know, when's the next time you've got work? I don't work.
Yeah.
You do not accuse me of working, because this ain't work.
Yeah, it's your passion.
This is what I love doing.
Yeah.
And you can tell by, you just know. I met a guy recently who's got it. That X factor that I've seen, the top 5% of fitness, and he will be a diamond of this industry. As long as he pursues that love.
Yes.
That feeling of the moment you walk into the gym and go, this is home.
I think that's a big thing you can see, certainly as a trainer myself, you can see if the trainer is a good trainer or not.
Yeah.
And that is, they have to have the love for what they do.
And I think that was the thing with management for me that I couldn't get my head around, is why do some people not love it as much as me?
Yeah.
You know what, they probably do, but they haven't got that spark I've got. Yeah, to some people it's annoying, but that want to get out, I get out of bed, I bounce out of bed. Because I know I'm going in to change a life.
Yeah, and do what you like to do best.
And do what I love doing.
And that flips it back, doesn't it? There are the people out there that bounce out of bed to go and do a management role.
Yeah, of course, it just wasn't for
what
me.
you've done. We kind of backtracked to my conversation 25 minutes ago, was that I found something that worked for me from a health and fitness perspective. You did the same thing from a job perspective.
Of course, yeah.
I've
found my... there's a lady that I talk to a lot, and she talks about making your soul sing. And you know what I'm talking about. And she's totally right.
Mm-hmm.
She's totally right. It becomes more than a job.
Yeah.
This is not my job.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I do.
Yeah.
Do I get paid healthily for it? Yeah. Yeah, I do. And I've made the best of my block. You know, selling 30 pence a session, as I've just been caught out. But, you know, I'm here now. I'm the director of MA Fitness, and I feel like my fitness journey is just beginning now.
Yeah, you found where you...
I've found where I want to go with it.
Yeah.
I've got ideas, you know, I've got passions that I want to, there's ways I want to go, there's ideas I've had since the beginning that I want to try and exploit. Mm-hmm. And I can only see the industry going up at the moment, especially with the way social media is, and especially the way that, you know, fitness is now beginning to work its way onto TV. I mean, you look at people like Joe Wick, you look at some of the celebrity trainers on The Biggest Loser and all that different stuff. Fitness is working its way onto TV in the social media type of world. It's becoming huge. I mean, the influencers and nutritionists and Instagrammers, all these different things, it's blowing up. Mm-hmm. It's a really exciting time to be part of the industry, and I think that's my story.
Yeah.
I've got some absolute catastrophic memories, stuff that I want to put, stuff that I'm embarrassed to say that I did. But I've got some times where I felt on top of the mountain. You know, there's only a couple of meeting my girlfriend or, you know, experiences that I've had with my best friends that ever topped those feelings. And I think once you've found that, you've found what makes your soul sing, and that is me.
It's good. Just to backtrack a little bit back to your name, is being the mathematical side of things. Mm-hmm. Would you say that is your philosophy on fitness?
Yeah,
it's got to be the numbers. So you do by the numbers.
So I do. Like you found the guy who wrote the book that you read that had that light bulb moment. I found Dr. Lane Norton, who is, for me, he's the Theresa May of this industry. He's amazing. To me anyway, I mean, some people will probably look at him and think, well, what's this guy spouting? I'm a geek. I love biology. I love learning about the human body. Lane is a geek.
Right.
He loves biology, he loves learning, but he knows biology to a level of PhD, and he's phenomenal. And I looked at the way that he does his macronutrients. I did what he did, the same as you did with your guy, and it worked.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with all of my guys, is I break down their macronutrients, I break them down into a numerical form, and then I rebuild them into an overall package.
Yeah.
So I work by workout loads, macronutrients, hours of sleep, delta waves, all these different things. That's what I look at from a numerical side of view to create the piece of art that is the human body.
Mm-hmm.
Because I look at the human body and go, okay, is it symmetrical? Where's the postural alignment? So what do I have to do? Do I have to shorten or lengthen something? And all that seems to come back to maths,
Yeah.
which is great, because maths or mathematics or whatever you call it, numeracy, developed in, you know, the across the world at all different times. And fitness did exactly the same thing. It kind of appeared from nowhere and created into this thing. And so did mathematics. And I think mathematics and biology do go hand in hand, because a lot of the stuff we talk about is time driven, is numerical driven, is broken down into a way where mathematics build the picture. And that's why I developed MA Fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it sounds pretty cool, in
It's
my
right at the
opinion.
top.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the philosophy being, at the end of the day, boils down to getting numbers right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same sort of thing as yourself. I look at nutrition, I look at good quality foods, but I make them extremely specific.
Yeah.
So, yes, I do weigh out food. Yes, I do talk about hours between meals, and I do look at amount of time of sleep, and I look at all different numbers like calories, like kilojoules, like all these different things. It's energy systems and all those different things. And I think it all breaks down, and once that, it goes back to that circle. Once you draw all those lines around the outside, you get that picture.
Yeah.
You get that perfect circle.
Yeah.
And once you're in it, it works.
Yeah.
And I find that it works for me. I've had guys that have said to me, hey, I can't follow this, it's too specific. It's not for me, I haven't got the time, or I haven't got the motivation to be able to do this. So I understand it's not for everybody, but it works for me. It's worked for a lot of people. And is it the same for everybody? No, it's completely bespoke. You are your own bespoke number. You've got a basal metabolic rate that's broken down into proteins, calories, fats. That's broken down even further into vitamins and minerals, and that's broken down even further, even into sort of like, you know, hydration and that sort of stuff. So that's the way that I like to do things. Exactly the same with my fitness. Everything's got sort of a load structure, so I like to hit a certain load to a session, or a beats per minute on the heart rate. I'm very numerical with the way that I do things.
I think that's what we've said before, haven't we, how we can hopefully work together to give people the right answers.
Yes. Yeah.
Coming from the same principle, you know, when we cross the bridges, but actually getting to that same destination in potentially two different ways.
Yeah. Well, we both start with nutrition.
Yeah.
Then build to sleep. Then build to fitness.
Yeah.
It's strange, really, being personal trainers or lifestyle coaches or whatever you want to call us, that we both start with nutrition.
Yeah. Top of the
The
shop.
thing that isn't going to earn us the money is where we start, which is
Yes.
great. But unless you've got that nutritional standpoint, foundation, great word, that I always use the terminology that you can't build a house on no foundation. So you've got to look at getting your nutrition solid first before you can start thinking about your lampshades.
Well, that's my tagline.
Yeah.
Eat, move, and live the way nature intended. Eat properly first, then your movement comes in,
Yeah.
and then your lifestyle changes, stress management.
Because I find a lot of people try and throw themselves into 100%. I'm going to eat perfect, I'm going to get my 8 hours sleep, and I'm going to train like a demon.
Then they fall off the wagon.
And then within 3 weeks, when you can't get out of bed, you forgot to go shopping,
Yeah.
you know, your abs are absolutely killing you because you've just done a really intense workout. The wheels fall off, and then it goes from here to there.
Yeah.
And it does, you know, stick with me that if you do your prior homework and you do your research and you do your numbers, it works.
Yeah.
Now we've got two different standpoints that both work for us and both work for different people. Now I understand there's people out there that are on Atkins, that are on Cambridge, that are on I've seen vodka diets and all sorts of different stuff. I don't know what that does, but you know, I've seen all of these different diets. They all ask you to do exactly the same thing. Cut out your crap food, drink more water, and move more. I just think ours are a bit more specific.
Yeah.
They've got a little bit more substance to them than here is a piece of research. How would you work off that piece of research, so to speak?
Can't take it out of context, just fads.
Yes,
That's one
yeah.
thing we're massively we're avoiding.
Well, it's in our tagline.
Yeah, get
You
rid
know,
of the fad.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be a fad. Lifestyle change. It's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
Not that faddy diet, faddy exercise routine. It's about that long-term lifestyle change.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's overlooked too often, as it should be. Long-term.
Yeah.
It's not bang, get it straight.
And I think the one thing for me, going back to my story, is we've both had moments in the industry where we've both thought, nah, I had enough here. This is not for me. I've had enough of this. I'm going to go and do something far more simple.
Yeah.
There are stories out there of much, much worse. And to be honest with you, I've had some good people around me pointing me in the right direction. Did I think it was good advice at the time? No, because my ego was too high. I've turned down a lot of really good information because my ego was too big to accept it.
Right.
And I think that's one thing that I'd love everyone who's watching this podcast to take away is what we're not saying is gospel. I've said it before, but what we are trying to do is give you that little bit of experience, whether you choose to take the information we give you or not. That's up to you. But we've been in positions before where we've been given advice, we've been told things, and we haven't followed it. And the advice was there from professionals who've got the experience. And I think if this podcast reaches out to a few people who change their lifestyle,
yeah,
we're doing what we want to do. Whether 7 people listen to this, 7,000, or this blows up and we get 7 million, I don't really care. It's something that I wanted to do, to speak to some people, to try and change a couple of lives.
Yeah.
Or to give a couple of people advice.
Which brings us on to our next point, I suppose, about
Yeah.
we need your feedback.
Yeah.
We need you people out there watching to send us the questions, whether that's a personal question about what you could do best, or just a more generic question about what's the best exercise for this, this and this, whatever health and fitness and lifestyle as well.
Yeah, definitely lifestyle.
Question that you think you need answering, or at least having a couple of different viewpoints in some instances. Do let us know, because we're going to need that to keep this rolling.
And there's no stupid questions. I mean, I had a question the other week about footwear, and the lady had been building up to ask me the question for about 6 weeks. Footwear's a massively important question. Yeah. I mean, you can see me now, I'm wearing my trainers, Dean does barefoot. So it's different styles, it's what you like, and we can explain more about those questions and try and answer in the way that we feel using our experience is most beneficial. But the question I've got for you, Dean, just going back, is there a time that you felt like you wanted to leave the industry?
I wouldn't say fully leave, but there was probably times when I thought, is it the right industry for me? But that comes back to the more financial side of things.
Yeah.
Because as I said, when I left my original working life, when I first started on this, I took a massive pay cut to do that. At the time, owning my own house, running all the bills and everything else, but obviously dropping that pay back's a massive thing, as well as doing university at the point as well. You know, so that was probably the bit that I thought, was I making the right decision to do it? But the industry at the end of the day is not that well paid, as we know.
Of course, yeah.
Particularly from the off. So that would probably be the point where I would have thought, maybe I need to rethink what I'm doing. But the whole looking back through time, I'm really glad I did it now, because I am where I am now. If I didn't do it, my life wouldn't be the way it is. You know. So to answer the question, yes, there was that small point, but it was only real from the financial. Really, I've always had that passion and that drive to keep going through it. As you know, I progressed my career through to that point where I was at management level, which I enjoyed. You weren't that much of it at that point. I did. Various reasons we've discussed before that I made the break to do it myself, and here I am now. Yeah. So yeah.
So another question for you.
Yeah.
And this is a difficult one, because I'm sparing this on you.
Yeah.
What is your favourite moment in this industry?
Favourite moment in the industry? Like is you? Throw it.
That's a big one. Yeah, I threw that one in at you.
I'm gonna have to come back to you on that one.
Okay.
I know it's. That was a.
Yeah.
It'll probably come to me in the next 25 seconds after we finish, but yeah, that's really difficult because there's been a lot of good. It's been a lot of good. What was my favourite one? There's been too many to pick one.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say. If I come back, if I think of one, we'll talk back
in
to
the next podcast, we will start with Dean's favourite moment.
Well, I'll throw it back. What's yours?
Okay, I've got one straight away.
You knew the answer.
Yeah, I did this before we go.
Yeah.
We were doing a boxing session. Me and the clients have been with the longest amount of time. I mean, if you see my LinkedIn videos, you'll know who that is. And we've done 55 minutes with about 2 minutes break. And we've been working combinations. My hands were wrecked. I had blood coming from a knuckle because we were hitting each other so hard. And we got to the end of this third stage movement where I was going bam, 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 all over the different places, and we threw the final hook, and it just made the biggest hook sound I've ever heard.
Connection, I think.
Biggest connection we've ever heard, and both of us just screamed yes. And it was that we kind of stopped for about 10 seconds and went, "What have we just done?" It was taking somebody from barely being able to move to doing a 55-minute boxing session, about 2 minutes break in the entire thing, both of us pouring with sweat, blood coming down the knuckle, and we both felt euphoric because we'd come to that point where, and it gives me the buzz now, I'm getting buzzing off it now, it gave me that feeling that we'd achieved it.
Right.
We'd done it, we'd come out of the hell, we'd come out of all those dark days, and we'd come into the light.
Yeah.
And I know that's a very religious metaphor, because I don't believe in God, but it was that, wow.
Yeah.
How special was that moment? I will never, I shake thinking about it now, I will never forget that moment.
No.
Ever.
A bit like the rocket at the top of the steps. Right?
Yeah, that, or when he gets to the drag on with that moment for me was the best moment in my fitness career.
No.
Proving the spin class run was pretty high.
Yeah.
I think the first time one of my clients ever lost more than 4 stone was a wow. I've done that, so that was from a different point of view, but that euphoric feeling where you've both, including the client, pushed each other to the physical limit of what you can do was amazing.
I think that's why it's a hard question to answer into, because there's so many good little points.
Yeah.
Like I say, that person losing weight, that person getting to a fitness goal, they're all them little snippets are all pretty magical in the way, aren't
Yeah,
they?
but it's what makes the fitness industry so special.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do a lot of cleaning. Yeah, you have to really take some terrible thing. You have to read literature that you look at and go, what is this?
The rough with the smooth.
The rough with the smooth. And there's a lot more rough than there is smooth. Believe me now, there is far more rough than smooth. But when you hit that smooth, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
I can imagine it being like someone walking off, I mean, I know this is a big analogy, but someone walking off stage at Glastonbury and they've just absolutely dominated that crowd and they've ruined their set and all that different stuff. They've done so well. That feeling.
Yeah.
It's that dopamine rush. It's that moment where your serotonin is perfect, you're flying. It's a special feeling.
Enjoyment from life at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think that brings us nicely to the end of the intro.
The end of the intro.
The end of the intro. It's crazy, really. So yeah, that's me and Dean's story. I believe that, you know, we've touched on points that are a bit more dear to us, and I think that's what we wanted to get out of this podcast. Is we don't want this to just be military. We say it as it is. We try and deal with the facts and go from there. I want some emotion in there as well, and hopefully you've seen the emotion and what it is for us that makes us love this. Now, as Dean's alluded to before, guys, we do need your questions. If you'd like to like the video, if you'd like to share the video, if you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube page, that would be absolutely fantastic. We're going to share this on all our social medias. If you could share it for us, guys, I know there's an absolute raft of videos out there and guys asking you to follow and like and share and subscribe. If you could help us out, that would be absolutely great. I'd just like to say thank you to all my LinkedIn community that are doing wonders for me. You guys are absolutely great. I know Dean's got Twitter, Facebook. There's a lot of stuff going on Dean's side of social media, so yeah, if you could share it for us, that would be great. If there's any questions you've got for us, leave it in the comments section down below. Leave us a comment on any of our social medias, and we will get back to you with that point.
Yeah, hopefully answer your questions as time goes on. Before that, if you do need some more info, please contact us just directly. You know, because we are going to hopefully build up the amount of times we do this. It's good. We said monthly to start.
Yeah,
we're going to start with a monthly self-think roll. So if that works well, great. Like I say, before that, let us know any questions as soon as you can. But if you do need that more burning answer, then give us a heads up. You go to my website, which is www.primalnature.info. I've got lots of information on there, obviously, regarding what I do. You get all my contact details from there as well. So yeah, let us know, and we'll see you soon, hopefully.
Yeah, no problem. Now, I'm going to leave an email at the end for you to send emails to. It's DNA Podcast SPC at gmail.com, but I will write it at the end for you to take a look. My information, www.m-a-fitness.co.uk. If you pop it into Google, MA Fitness, you'll also find all the different stuff on there. Dean's got far more of the blogging side, mine's just more a website to just tell you what I do. So yeah guys, we will speak to you next time. Cheers.
Take care.